Tuesday morning. It's the 11th day of September, the year 2001. And we've got a nice crowd on a beautiful early fall morning here in Manhattan.
Number 3 in the back, the cockpit's not answering. Somebody's stabbed in business class. And I think there's mace that we can't breathe. I don't know. I think we're getting hijacked.
Betty Ong, a flight attendant on American Airlines Flight 11.
What's going on, Betty? Betty, talk to me. Betty, are you there? Betty?
At 8:46 Eastern Time, Flight 11 flies into the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
Kennedy Tower reports. Are you serious? Kennedy Tower reports that there was a fire at the World Trade Center. And that's the area where we lost the airplane.
A short time later, at 9:03, United Airlines Flight 175 smashes into the South Tower.
Oh, another one just hit.
The crash scene on live TV.
Plane just flew directly over my building. And
it was at least a 727. It was a jet. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Then, at 9:37 a.m., a military cargo plane watches as American 77 hits the Pentagon.
And this is Gopher 06. It looks like that aircraft crashed into the Pentagon, sir.
Back in New York City, the South Tower collapses, sending debris flying from the sky. A giant cloud of ash now chasing people through the streets.
Tuesday, 9:47 a.m.
Hi, baby. Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye.
United Airlines, Flight 93. Crew and passengers take matters into their own hands.
Negative contact. We're looking at United 93.
Fighting back against the terrorists.
At 10:03 a.m. Eastern Time, United 93 crashes down in a field in rural Pennsylvania, never reaching its target.
United 93, have you got information on that yet?
Yeah, he's down.
He's down?
Yes.
When did he land? Because we have confirmation.
He did not land.
Oh, he's down?
Sean, it's me. I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. There's lots of smoke, and I just wanted you to know that I love you always.
10:28 a.m., the North Tower goes down. It took workers nearly a year to remove all the debris and recover the remains of hundreds of victims. The images from that day are haunting even 20 years later.
But one local veteran tells us he doesn't need to see these photos to remember what happened. He was there and relives those gut-wrenching moments every single day.
That was our second day in Afghanistan. The Lakers cheerleaders and Aaron Tippin came.
Jonathan Baker of Marshall County joined the Army in 1995. Is that you?
Yep. I've changed a little bit.
A soldier with the 754th Ordnance Company, EOD. The Bomb Squad.
That was where we blew them up.
Thousands of images and several videos.
And then all of those have 100 or more in each.
Memories of his time in Afghanistan.
Most of it was a positive experience.
He could look at these all day.
About 50 yards worth of it.
It's what happened before this he does not want to see.
So I hope I never forget it, but every day I wish I could.
September 11th, 2001. Baker was on temporary duty in New York City. He was getting ready to meet with Secret Service for a briefing in Tower 7 of the World Trade Center. The team got there early, so they decided to head down the street for a bite to eat.
Looking at the new map, there's where the deli was at. Stage door, deli, and pizza. And then right there is where the towers were.
2 massive skyscrapers, the tallest buildings in New York, just a couple blocks from the deli.
While we were in there, we heard essentially the sound of a steel plate that they put on the ground for road construction. It sounded roughly like one of those being run over by a truck. And then we started hearing people make comments about something outside and saw them crowding the windows. And then one of us heard them say something about a bomb.
It didn't sound like one, but if it was true, it was their job to find a second one.
As we walked out of the door and looked up, you could just see papers everywhere. So then we looked up even higher, and all we saw was a fireball coming out of the first tower.
First responders now racing to the scene.
We have a number of floors on fire.
At the same time, Baker and the 3 other soldiers ran toward the buildings.
Came that direction.
Heading here to Tower 7 to link up with Secret Service.
People all over the streets that were just running in different directions. Some of them were running the same direction we were, which looked like towards the buildings, but most people were running from the buildings.
Baker's team squeezed into the now crowded lobby. The building just a few hundred feet from the burning North Tower.
And while we were in the lobby of Tower 7 is when the second plane hit. Of course, we felt that. All of the windows in Tower 7 just spider-webbed out. Saw unbelievably expensive office desks on fire, hitting the ground right there in front of us. Unfortunately, the other things we saw were people. That's one of those that bothers me. I can remember one gentleman in particular, and I can almost even see his face still. And I just saw him falling from the sky.
How do you erase that from your memory?
You don't. Some people try to, and they climb into the bottom of a bottle, or they become one of the 22 a day that end their lives.
Do you find talking about this?
It helps. I think that's one of the reasons why it doesn't bother me to talk about versus seeing it.
So for this story, I mean, as you're probably aware, we're going to be running video of that day.
Right.
You're probably not even going to watch this story.
Probably not.
So what's making you want to open up and actually share your story?
People have obviously forgotten. I don't mind the story being out there, so hopefully people will remember.
And thank you, Baker, for sharing that story with us. If you were alive during 9/11, chances are you remember where you were and what you were doing when you heard the news. And many of you shared those stories with me on Facebook. Louise Barnes Thomason says, I sat and watched it unfold on the Today Show with my dad. He was a retired Paducah fireman. He became quite emotional watching. Aaron Thomas says, I joined the Marine Corps that afternoon. Teresa Bishop says, I remember well. I was working at a local hospital ER as an RN. We had a man come in with serious burns. We had to get clearance from DC to fly him out to a larger burn unit. All the patients that day and everyone in the waiting rooms stared at the TVs in horror, tears running down their faces. I won't forget. And Andrea Winstead says, my son had joined the Army in May of that year. He had deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. He just retired after 20 years of service this past June. It definitely changed our lives. We told you earlier, nearly 3,000 people died during the attacks on September 11th.
The youngest victim was a 2-year-old, the oldest 85 years old. 343 New York City firefighters perished while trying to rescue people from the burning Twin Towers, along with 23 police officers and 37 Port Authority officers.
They lost their lives while helping save thousands of people on that dark day 20 years ago.